world is not enough. The world's not enough was released in 1999 and is directed by Michael Apted and stars Pierce Brosnan in his third outing as iconic character James Bond. The film also stars Sophie Marceau, Denise Richards, Robert Carlyle, and Judi Dench. And basically, as you see at the film, this old tycoon dies in MI6. So Bond, once again played by Pierce Brosnan in the film, is sent to go after the old tycoon's daughter because someone is trying to kill her. And the old tycoon's daughter is played by Sophie Marceau in the film. At the same time though, we are also introduced to Robert Carlyle's big bad Bond villain, who essentially wants to blow up Europe. So Bond is also trying to stop him, and at the same time trying to protect Sophie Marceau's character from somebody who's trying to kill her and trying to find that person trying to kill her before it's too late. And what do you know? These two storylines come together in quite a predictable way. And that's basically the plot of The World Is Not Enough. And honestly, I think this Bond is fine. I don't think it's terrible. Like I think GoldenEye is terrible. I hate that film. I don't think it's terrible, but at the same time though, I don't think it's that good either, and I think it has some really big problems. But first of all, I'm going to talk about some of the things I actually kind of like about the film. Some of the things I actually think the film has going for it. First of all, I like Pierce Brosnan's performance as Bond in this film. I actually really enjoyed watching the film. He's doing quite a similar performance that he was in Someone Never Dies, and I really enjoyed the performance in Someone Never Dies. I love that film. That was so enjoyable to watch. I really enjoyed Pierce Brosnan's performance as Bond in Someone Never Dies. He's kind of in his prime Bond then, and he carries that performance over into this film. I really enjoyed the performance as Bond. You can really tell he's in the Bond role. Like, there's some enjoyable sequences yet again, and at the same time though, he deals well with the intimate sequences. He plays that character well, and by no means am I saying Pierce Brosnan is the best Bond portrayal. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he's good in this film. I enjoyed watching him as much as I enjoyed watching him as Bond in Someone Never Dies. And at the same time though, I also like Judi Dench as M in this film, because I like the bigger role that she plays in the story and the whole grand scheme of things. Like, not to give too much away, but at one stage she actually gets captured by Robert Carlyle's big bad Bond villain, and she actually has quite a significant role in the story as well, and I kind of like that about it. I like the bigger role that, you know, Judi Dench as M played in the story and the whole grand scheme of things in the film, and I also like Judi Dench as M in this film. I mean, I always like seeing Judi Dench as M in the Bond films. Yeah, she's really good to watch, and I like the big role that she played in this film, and I really like Judi Dench's performance. And at the same time though, this was the final Bond film that Desmond Llewelyn's Q popped up in, and he was so enjoyable and so funny to watch one last time. I mean, sadly he died in the same year this film actually came out, in 1999, but the fact is, you know, he's been playing Q in the Bond franchise for so long now. He played Q in the Sean Connery period, then he played Q in the Roger Moore films, then the Timothy Dalton films, and he played Q for most of the Pierce Brosnan films as well. And he's still playing Q here, which is kind of incredible when you think about it. The fact that he played Q for that long in the Bond franchise, and he just plays him so well, and he pops him in this film, and he's so enjoyable, so funny to watch, and a really funny sequence. At the same time though, you also see John Cleese in the sequence I popped him, and you kind of get the idea that John Cleese is going to be Q in Die Another Day. I haven't seen Die Another Day, that's in Bond film after this, I haven't seen that. All I know is what I've seen in this film, but the thing is though, you kind of get the idea in this one that John Cleese is going to be Q in Die Another Day, because Desmond Llewelyn, as you actually said, that he's like the mentor to John Cleese's character. There's a really funny introduction to John Cleese in the film, but at the same time though, it was nice to see Desmond Llewelyn once again in his last performance as Q in this film. It was a really enjoyable sequence, it was really funny to see him, and honestly, he's left behind such a fantastic legacy as Q. He's in so many Bond films, and even in the Bond films that were bad, it's always nice to see him in there. It's always nice to see him in a Bond film, and it was nice to see him in this Bond film, and in his final performance as Q. I really enjoyed the sequence he was in. And at the same time though, I also really like David Arnold's Bond score for the film. I think that David Arnold did a fantastic job, yet again, doing a fantastic Bond score for the film. Honestly, he did an absolutely brilliant score for Tomorrow Never Dies. Like, say you will about that film, but honestly, the music score for that film is just so brilliant. Like, the thing is, the score for Tomorrow Never Dies, he went back on some of those early John Barry scores from some of the early Bond films, and you know, like small variations of them, like the score from Russia With Love, which works really well in Tomorrow Never Dies. Like, he did whole variations of that theme, and it works really well in that film. And although I don't think the score in this film is as good as the score in Tomorrow Never Dies, I still think it works really, really well. And that was actually one of the redeeming features of the film. Like, there's lots of moments in the film where you go ba-da, by David Arnold, and you know, David Arnold's variation of that theme, and it just works so well. So many action sequences where you just got Bond score in the background, I'm like, that is fantastic, that's really good. And I was so happy to hear this fantastic score in the film, because even in the moments when the film wasn't working, I'm going to talk about very shortly in the review, even in the moments where the film wasn't really working, you still had that fantastic Bond score going in the background, and that's what made it work for me quite a lot. And at the same time though, it is quite a 90s score, that, I mean, I've got nothing wrong with it, it actually kind of works well the film, which kind of surprised me, but it's quite a 90s score, quite a lot of 90s, you know, music in there, we're getting big 90s scores, and you always watching thinking, that's quite a 90s score, but I think it actually works rather well. I quite like the musical score by David Arnold in the film. Not as good as Tomorrow Never Dies score, but personally, I still really liked it. But unfortunately, you know, that's kind of where my praise ends with this film. I think this film has one huge major problem, which kind of goes into all the other problems as well to the film. And this huge problem is this. It's directed by Michael Apted, and I did a bit of research about Michael Apted after I saw the film. And I realised something. Like, Michael Apted, before he made this film, he hadn't really dealt with a big budget film ever. I mean, he made quite a lot of documentaries and quite a lot of low budget films. And to be honest, you can kind of tell that it's a director dealing with a big budget film for the first time. Because, you know, the action sequences in the film, which should pop out of the screen and go, wow, look at that big Bond action sequence, don't work as well as they should have. But the thing is, though, the intimate scenes in the film work really, really well. Like, there's one intimate scene in particular where Judi Dench's M actually sees, you know, Bond, Pierce Brosnan's Bond, kills someone with no hesitance. You just see the shock on M's face, and it's like, wow, that's a really good intimate scene, and you know, it's really well put together. But then you look at some of the action sequences, which, like I said, just pop out the screen, you just go, oh, it's really enjoyable. But they don't work as well as it could have done, because it's, you know, Michael Apted, it's a director dealing with a big budget for the first time, and I think that's a big problem to this film. Like, you know, say you will about Tomorrow Never Dies. Yes, it's an unbelievably stupid film, but when you have that energetic action and all those big action sequences in the film, it makes, you know, Tomorrow Never Dies work. It makes it enjoyable to watch. But the thing is, though, even so, you know, yet again, logic goes out the window in this Bond film, and it is stupid. Yet again, I mean, you know, Robert Carlyle's Bond villain wants to blow up Europe. I mean, come on, that's unbelievably stupid. But yes, even so, you got that plot line going on. You still want that bit of enjoyment from the film, even if it's from like some of the Bond action sequences. And I just think the film lacks that because it's Michael Apted dealing with a big budget when he made this film for the first time. And I just think it's suffered from that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's completely unenjoyable. There was actually some enjoyable moments of the film. There's one in particular where Pierce Brosnan's Bond and Denise Richards' Bond girl are trying to get out of this mine where it's gone blown up and everything. It was a really enjoyable sequence that. But then there wasn't enough enjoyable sequences like that. There's a whole boat chase before the Bond towers at the start of the film, and it just wasn't that fun. I just thought it was badly directed and badly put together, to be honest. And you can tell it's a director dealing with a big budget for the first time, and I think the film just suffers from that. At the same time, though, I also think the film suffers from some lackluster performances, and some performances which really should have been better. Like, the Bond girls on the film are clearly just high because of their looks. And don't get me wrong, I know Bond girls in all the Bond films are simply just high because of their looks, but they can also be good actresses. I mean, take a look at Isabel Scorpico's Bond girl from GoldenEye. I'm not really a fan of GoldenEye at all. I just think that's a terrible film. I even did my whole big, 17-minute rant video on that film. I really didn't like it at all. But Isabel Scorpico's Bond girl in that film is actually one of the redeeming features about that film, because yes, she clearly just high because of her looks in that film, but she actually gives off a generally good performance, and her character is somewhat interesting in that film. But in this film, yes, Sophie Marceau's Bond girl is interesting to a degree, but ultimately, Sophie Marceau's performance and Denise Richards' performance are just lacking and really not that good. Like Sophie Marceau, there's this whole thing going on with the character in the film, which is really interesting. I'm not going to give away what it is, but there's this whole thing going on with the character in the film, which is really interesting to watch. But her performance is just lacking, and you never really get into her character because of that performance. Well, I never personally did anyway, and I just kind of struggled to really get connected to that character and really get interested in that character because, Sophie Marceau's performance was just naff, to be honest. I think it should have been better, especially with the character she's playing. Like, the character she's playing is really interesting, like I said, but when you have that lacking performance, I just wasn't interested in her character that much. At the same time, though, Denise Richards shows up, and apparently she's like a physics professor. I mean, come on! I know the Bond franchise is stupid at this point, but, that's asking me to believe just a little bit. Denise Richards as a physics professor, or someone who's into physics or something. I don't believe that at all. And honestly, she shows up and was like, I'm a physics professor or something. I'm like, no, you're not. Her performance as well is just rubbish. Honestly, she was clearly just high because of her looks. Because honestly, there are moments towards the end of the film where you have, Pierce Brosnan's Bond and Robert Carlyle's Big Bad Bond villain find each other in these big end sequences, and she'll just be there, kind of watching it happen. It's just like, do something. You're there. You're not even giving that much of a good performance. It's just both of the Bond girls in the film were clearly just high because of their looks, and I don't think either of them were really good actresses. Either of them really gave off good performance in the film, and I think that actually made the film suffer a bit more. And at the same time, though, Robert Carlyle is a Big Bad Bond villain. The thing is, though, I really like Robert Carlyle as an actor. I think he's a great actor. I've seen him quite a few things now. I think he's a great actor. Unfortunately, though, in this film, he's doing the best he can with the script he's got, and to be honest, that's not that good. His performance as the Big Bad Bond in the film is kind of naff as well. I know, in the end, he's just doing the best he can with the script he's got, and in the end, his character wants to blow up Europe. I mean, that's just stupid, and honestly, Robert Carlyle's performance is just, it isn't that memorable in this film. He's not one of the most memorable Bond villains that I've seen in the Bond franchise. I mean, it just seems like a worse version of Jonathan Pryce's Bond villain from Tomorrow Never Dies, which I thought was really, really enjoyable to watch. I like Jonathan Pryce in the film. Every time he had a bit of a weird, catchphrase, every time he deliver like an evil monologue, he'd go, delicious, and I'd be like, okay, I don't feel that threatened anymore. Yeah, even so, he was a bit, had a bit of a weird catchphrase Jonathan Frakes, Bond villain. He worked to a degree in that film. He was one of the things I really liked about One Never Dies and really enjoyed the film in my opinion. But then Robert Carlyle's Bond villain just isn't that memorable. And honestly, I wish I liked Robert Carlyle's performance more. And so you have those naff performances from the Bond girls, and you have the naff performance from the Bond villain as well. And at the same time, the big final fight between Pierce Brosnan's Bond and, you know, the big bad Bond villain film played by Robert Carlyle is just so anticlimactic. Like literally, it's in a submarine engine room, and the submarine has gone sideways at this point. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. There's a lot of bars in the room that have to fight. You can clearly tell they couldn't really move the camera around to shoot the fight sequence that well. So honestly, it's really, really anticlimactic, and it was really underwhelming. And honestly, that's just what the film is as a whole. It's a really underwhelming Bond film. I just kind of sat there at the end going, okay, that was a film. It wasn't really that good one. But at the same time, it wasn't terrible. It's just underwhelming and honestly kind of disappointing. I wanted to enjoy it so much more than I did. I sat down to watch a Bond film thinking, enjoyable Bond film. You know, I really enjoyed One Never Dies, and then I sat down to watch the film thinking, oh, it's going to be really enjoyable. I never felt that with it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's terrible, because I don't think it is. I do think it has its redeeming features. And honestly, everything else just didn't work as well as it could have. And I think it suffers from just having that big issue of Michael Apted dealing with a big budget for the first time. And I think the film could have been better. And I think it should have been better, to be honest. And at the same time, though, one thing I haven't really mentioned is the Bond song's rubbish. And that was kind of expected, though, I must admit, because all the Bond songs in the Pierce Brosnan Bond era are just rubbish. They all are rubbish. Even if I like the film a bit, that's One Never Dies, you know, the songs in the films are just rubbish. That was kind of expected. I didn't really care about that as much, but the Bond song was just rubbish. But there were some redeeming features about the film, like David Arnold Bond score, and, you know, Pierce Brosnan's Bond performance, and Judi Dench's M, and Desmond Llewelyn seen him once in his last performance as Q in this film. But honestly, I just sat there at the end, just very underwhelmed by what I just saw. And honestly, it's just kind of forgettable. I don't think it's terrible, I don't. But at the same time, no, I wish I enjoyed it more. And I wish I liked this film, but I really do. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that The World Is Not Enough is a 6 out of 10. Honestly, I really wanted to like this film. I really did, if you can believe me or not. But I sat down to watch the film thinking, really enjoyable Bond film. But then in the end, I just kind of sat there at the end thinking, okay, it was enjoyable, but honestly, underwhelming. Really, not as enjoyable as it just could be. I wish it was better. That's what I'm saying in the end. And honestly, I hate to say it, I really do, because I really wanted to like this Bond film. I really want to give it a good review, but honestly, I just think The World Is Not Enough is fine. And I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of The World Is Not Enough? Please do comment down below and know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, I'm still watching and reviewing the Bond films right now, so I'll forward to my next Bond film review, which will be Die Another Day, Pierce Brosnan's Last, coming very soon on this channel. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on the video, and look forward to many more both film and TVs coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!